Okay, so today we're going to be making chicken pot pies. And unfortunately, when a lot of people hear chicken pot pie, they think of these things. And they're not only underwhelming, let's be fully honest here, these things suck. And we can do a lot better than that. So I've got a great recipe and a really easy formula for pie crust that you can use for any pie. So let's get going with this. Okay, getting started, the first thing we're going to do is make our pie crust, and I've got a really easy formula that I was given in culinary school that works for any pie or any type of crust, and that's the 3-2-1 formula, which is 3 parts flour, 2 parts fat, and 1 part water. And I'm going to be using butter for the fat today, but if you wanted to use lard or shortening, this ratio still stays the same. And we're going to make a flaky crust, meaning that the butter is not going to be fully incorporated and it's going to be left in chunks that are about the size of green peas or hazelnuts. Okay, the amounts you're going to use are going to depend on how much pie you're going to make, but I'm going to start with 6 ounces of flour along with 4 ounces or 1 stick of butter, and I'm going to work this together with a pastry blender, but you could always use a fork if you don't have one of those. It's important to point out that the butter should be cold here because you don't want it to blend into the flour too much. What happens during baking is that the butter melts and flattens, creating pockets that trap steam, and this results in a layered, flaky texture. A lot of people like to use a box grater for this part, which can work really well, but be aware that the smaller, thinner pieces of butter can melt very easily, so I would lightly freeze the butter before and after shredding it just to be on the safe side. Okay, once you have the butter worked in a little bit, go ahead and add your water, and this should also be very cold as well to help prevent the butter from melting. I also dissolved a pinch of salt into the water, and most people add it to the flour at the beginning, but I think it distributes more evenly when added to the water. So the next step is to briefly work the dough until it comes together, and it may seem a bit shaggy at first and like it won't come together, but 30 seconds or so of kneading and folding in all the loose stuff should get you there. Alright, so that's the dough recipe. It's a pretty easy dough to put together. So let's wrap this thing in plastic wrap now, and we're going to put it in the refrigerator for at least a half hour or so. And what's going to happen during that time is the dough is going to relax a little bit, the flour is going to absorb the water, and it's going to become a little bit easier to work with. So let's get this thing in the fridge and let's make our filling. Okay, for the meat today, I'm going to use boneless, skinless chicken thighs. And what I like about these is that they're relatively inexpensive, and even if you overcook these a little bit, they're still going to be tender and juicy. And the only thing I did with these is just sprinkle a little bit of salt on the top and the bottom, and I'm going to load them into a 300-degree oven, which is kind of a lower temperature, because we want these things to stay tender. We don't want any tough, stringy pieces. So lower temperature is the way to go, and it should take, 20 to 30 minutes to cook these, so in we go. Chicken leg quarters will also work really well here, but they will take a little bit longer to get done. You're probably looking 50 minutes to an hour on those. And if you want something really quick and really easy for this, you could shred a part of rotisserie chicken, but I don't recommend that because a lot of times those are kind of dried out, and going through another cooking process will almost certainly dry them out. So it is best to start with uncooked chicken and cook it yourself and just assemble the entire thing yourself. But if you are looking for something in a pinch, rotisserie chicken, give it a shot. Okay, with the chicken in the oven, let's get our vegetables ready, and I'm just using a standard mixture of onions, carrots, celery, potatoes, and mushrooms. You could use whatever vegetables you like and change up the ratios any way you want. But regardless of your choice of vegetables, you want to dice most of them into a medium dice or about a ½ inch in size. Cutting them too big will make it harder to scoop spoonfuls while eating, and cutting them too small might cause them to break down too much during cooking, which could make the pie filling mushy. I am, however, cutting the potatoes slightly thinner to compensate for the fact that they take a little bit longer to cook. And once you've got all your vegetables cut to size, you can head over to the stovetop with a medium sauce pot and add 1.5 ounces of butter, or if you have it, chicken fat to the pot. And the chicken's been in the oven for about 25 minutes now, so it's done cooking, and I can pull it out and set it aside for the moment. And once your fat of choice has melted, go ahead and add all of the vegetables to the pot at once. And I've noticed that staggering them doesn't make much of a difference, so it's much easier just to do it this way. Add a pretty strong pinch of salt, stir the whole thing up, and continue to cook and stir everything until they've slightly softened up, and you'll see that the onions are turning translucent. Once you reach that point, you can work in 1.5 ounces of flour to make roux. Cook the roux for a few minutes to very lightly toast it, but be careful not to burn it. Keep the heat relatively low and don't walk away from the pot. Then slowly add 3 cups of chicken stock a little bit at a time, initially forming a paste, then gradually add more and more while stirring to prevent lumps from forming. This is definitely a trick you want to keep in mind a few months from now when you're making your Thanksgiving gravy. I also want to point out another ratio to keep in mind here, and that's that 1 ounce of roux will thicken up 1 cup of stock. So if your baking pans are a little bit bigger or maybe even a little smaller, the crust and filling ratios remain the same, so that should make your planning a bit easier. Once all the stock is added, season it with a bit of salt and continue stirring as it heats up. Well, if you're a longtime viewer of this channel and you happen to have caught my French mother sauce video from a few months ago, this whole thing might look familiar to you, as we basically just made Veloute Sauce, which is one of the 5 French mother sauces. We combined a blonde roux with chicken stock, which makes chicken veloute. And as you know, this has to come up to a boil and then simmer for 10 or 15 minutes after that to cook out the raw flour taste. So while this is simmering, let's head over to the cutting board, get our chicken ready so we can combine everything together and make these pies. The chicken should be fully cooked here, but if it's not done all the way, it's not a big deal. It will finish when we add it to the filling. So just give these a sort of rough chop. It doesn't have to be precise, but think easy bite-sized pieces, so somewhere in the range of a 1/2 inch to 3/4 of an inch. And once you've got all the chicken pieces cut down, go ahead and add them to the pot with the filling, and we can jump over and get our crust shaped out. All right, the pie crust. This is the part of the recipe where people get a little bit hesitant when it comes to making pies, but chicken pot pies are actually a really good starting point or intro to learning how to do this, because you don't have to worry about shaping out the bottom crust or crimping the edges or anything like that. You just roll it out, and if it's not perfect, it's not that big of a deal here. So I've split these into 2 because I am making 2 pies, and I did let these set out for about 10 minutes because while you do want them cold, I feel like people kind of overstate that a lot because you also want them to be pliable and workable. If they're too cold, they will be kind of stiff and brittle, so there is kind of a happy medium that you want to find there. So to do this, first sprinkle a little bit of flour down, not too much, you only want it to not stick. Lay out the pie crust, a little bit on top, again, not too much. And we're gonna take our rolling pin and start pounding it out. And basically you're just working, this until you get somewhat of a disc shape. So we've got somewhat of a disc shape here. This is a good starting point. And right now, I'm gonna start about 1/2 to 2/3 of the way up and roll towards myself. And when rolling towards myself, apply a small amount of pressure and stop about a 1/2 inch short. And then I'm gonna go 1/4 turn and repeat the same thing. And the part that you didn't get on that first turn, you get it on the second turn. And you're just gonna continue this until it's 1/4 of an inch thick all the way around. So normally with dessert pies, the goal is around 1/8 of an inch thick for the crust, but I like the crust to play a little bit bigger role in chicken pot pies, so I go for 1/4 inch. And once you reach that thickness all the way around, we can grab our pot of filling and put these things together. I'm using a few souffle bowls I have, but you can use whatever you have that you think works best. So fill the bowls up about a 1/2 inch short of the top. Filling them all the way to the top will cause them to boil over, and using less filling will cause the crust to sink and cave in. And once you have the bowls filled, simply drape the crust over the top of the bowls, and you can stretch and press them to the bowls a little bit, but be careful not to apply too much pressure because you don't want to break the crust along the edges of the bowl. And with the bowls covered, brush a small amount of egg wash on the surface and around the sides of the crust. You only want a very thin coating here. You don't want any puddles or anything like that, and this is going to help develop that rich golden brown crust like you see from the pros. And the final step here is to take a small knife and cut a few slits into the top of the crust, which will help with venting during baking. If you forget to do this step, the filling will become pressurized and spill over the sides of the bowls and make a big mess, so don't forget to do this step. All right, these are ready to go into a preheated 400-degree oven right now, and it should take anywhere from 20 to 30 minutes for the crust to become golden brown on these things. And remember, when baking these things, that's all you're going for here because the filling is already fully cooked. So you're just looking for the crust to get golden brown. So in we go. And we'll check back in a little bit. Actually, while I have a moment, I want to point out the fact that I don't use bottom crust when making chicken pot pies. And that's because I don't see this as one of those pies that you just carve out slices with and serve that way. the filling isn't really cohesive and it doesn't gel together the same way that dessert pies do. So if you were to try to do this, it would just spill out all over the place and you wouldn't really be able to get clean slices out of it, and it just doesn't really work out. So I think individual serving bowls like I did are the way to go. But for whatever reason, let's say you did want to do a bottom crust. Well, top crust and bottom crust are not made the same way. For the top crust, we used a flaky dough where you barely work in the fat and it ends up having that, layered flaky consistency. But for a bottom crust, you make what's called a mealy dough. And to make that, you have to work in the fat a little bit more than what we did, and it should have a somewhat pebbly, almost like cornmeal-like consistency in the end. And coating the flour with more fat like this does make it more water resistant. So when you pour the filling into it, it makes it a lot less likely to become soggy. So remember that top crust you use a flaky dough, bottom crust you use a mealy dough. And I will cover this much more when I go into the topic of dessert pies at some point. But I at least wanted to point out the difference between top crust and bottom crust. Remember, top crust flaky dough, bottom crust mealy dough. So there you have it, and we'll check back here in a few minutes on these pies. After 25 minutes in the oven, the pies are nice and golden brown, and I hope you found this video helpful and useful. But for now, that's the end of the video, so thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you next time.